Okay, says we're live. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about this for just a few minutes. We're talking about some hauntings, in particular, hauntings at birth. So, briefly, um, the story goes that when I was born back in the 60s, my parents, being barely in their 20s, had a small wooden house downtown Baton Rouge, and and when they brought me home from the hospital, that their house began to have all sorts of hauntings. Okay, all the typical things you hear: rattling noises, someone running on the roof, uh, doorbell ringing, doors knocking, seeing apparitions, everything. This apparently was so much that my parents had the cops out several times. They would have brothers and sisters over and friends over, and they all experienced these things while they were there. It was so bad. Apparently, at one time, LSU had an entire paranormal studies uh, uh, department, um, and they had come out and did filming, documentary, etc. Um, and finally, apparently, uh, someone, forgive me if I forget some of these details. Apparently, someone did research on the property and found out that an elderly couple was there before. That was they lived there a long time, and they uh, they had since moved to I think Chicago, something like that, and they had died. Um, and the children or child of this couple was explaining this to my parents and all. And uh, the once this was understood, that once this information came out, and I believe that child lived in Baton Rouge, and came to the house. And once that information came out and they had a conversation about all this at the house, then apparently all of those things went away. And please forgive me, there's some, I don't remember all the particulars and some details. That's the gist of it. Okay. As a child, I do not consciously recall any of that. Um, I have not been subjected to hypnosis. I'm open to it. I just haven't had that happen. Um, and again, there was no video or pictures back then. Just a whole lot of witnesses, including police and the LSU folks. Matter of fact, I don't know. I never thought about this. They don't have the paranormal department anymore, but perhaps I can track down where it was. I can start at the psychology department at LSU. I know where that's at. And perhaps there's some old archives there of that we can find. I'll get back with you on that. Okay, so fast forward 30 years later, I'm older. I'm 30 years old. My son is born. We bring him home, and uh, and at this time now, we start to have different events at our place. Um, so a couple of things that are common that I see on a lot of YouTube videos and hear from people. The first thing was, um, we heard, uh, one of the strangest things that I still can't figure out, um, is a huge bang on a large window pane at the window of the kid's bedroom. Okay, so we had, um, my stepdaughter Megan. She was, 2 or 3 at the time, and my son was brand new, just born. And she had her bed on the right side, and they had the baby crib on the left with the baby monitors. And we heard this loud bang. It was very loud. And how that did not shatter the glass, I have no idea. Um, so let me explain to you my perspective. My first thought was it could have been a bird. That's common. And I may not understand why the glass didn't break, but at least I can understand what it was. However, that theory was soon dissipated or proven wrong in my mind, because when I went outside to inspect again the outside, it's very clear that there's, first of all, this very small distance, 10 to 12, maybe 15 feet between the side of our house next to the neighbors. And also, uh, there's a huge there's a line of huge shrubbery. Okay. So if a bird did that, they had to have accumulated a lot of speed. And I don't see where they could have done that if they started at the edge of their house, the neighbor's house, and was able to accomplish that amount of speed in 10 feet. Maybe. Sure. I'll admit that, maybe. Um, so to this day, I don't know. And if it was a single anomaly, then I wouldn't even be talking about it almost 30 years ago. But that happened. Next thing was, we began to see like some shadow things here and there. Um, then my little girl was scared to go in the back and scared to go in her room. Um, and then one night, uh, one night, I don't remember, one night or morning, um, I think it was it had to have been in the morning, um, because we heard on the baby monitor, and in our bedroom, we heard on the baby monitor someone telling my son, wake up, and calling out his name, saying, Ethan, wake up. And we thought it was just, my little girl crawling up in his thing and saying and trying to get him to wake up, which may have been odd in of itself, but not out of this realm. So we went in there to check on what's going on, and she's sound asleep and there's nobody here, but yet we distinctively heard someone, a female voice, talking to my son, telling him to wake up. Now, you got to understand, after being born in a haunted house and having all the things that I've had in my life to that point, was enough for me to feel that I need to protect my son. So I brought him in with me, and he slept, him and my daughter. So they slept with us either in our bed or right next to us, where I can put my hand on them. Like if I pulled their bed next to mine so I can literally have my hand on them the whole night. So we did that. And then the final straw there was a couple weeks later, maybe. My ex-wife was from North Louisiana. Coincidentally, side note, she grew up with Tim McGraw, country singer, and very, very small town, 3 to 4 hour drive home. And so we would frequent grandma a lot. And on one of these trips, we got back on a Sunday night late, and we got to bed around midnight. And a Sunday night, midnight, getting ready for work the next day. And so we got to bed, and again we had the kids with us. And then all of a sudden, my wife at the time, the kids' moms, she started feeling, we could feel the bed move, okay? And I hear that's common. So if any of you have experienced that, please reach out. Let us know in the comments below, or email us your stories. But we could feel impressions in the bed, like someone stepping or kneeling on the bed and walking around it, or moving, okay? And then my wife had experienced a presence on top of her and just pressing down on her, and with a certain expressing or conveying certain, let's say, malevolent energies uh, with ill intention, and just scared the bejesus out of her. And I couldn't really do anything to defend it. And so we just got up and left. And so at that point, the next day, um, I had to call the landlord and said, sorry, we're out of here. They said they had never seen or heard of any experiences in there. But I had to leave to protect my family. So we returned in daylight with friends, because we weren't about to go there at night, and we weren't going there alone, to help us pack up and leave. And so that's what we did. Okay. That's my story on that. If you folks have anything else to share, or similar, or anything near that, please feel free. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.